It's time for Mornings at 8 with Jonathan Mark on AM 1480 WLEA.
Well, yes, it is time for Mornings at 8. It is 8:05, and here we are on a Wednesday morning. Wednesday, halfway through the week. You can just see the weekend peeking up over the horizon. It'll be here soon enough, so hang in there. We're halfway there. Well, Alfred State College classes began yesterday, the first day of the fall classes. And, I have noticed that, especially over the past month or month and a half, there's hardly any traffic at all out there. I mean, any traffic. And the last couple of days, it's been just a little more busy than it has been for quite some time. So, yes, school is coming, and the school year will start, and there will be traffic all over the place. Well, also, I noticed that it's really starting to feel like fall in the morning, which is a good thing because it's nice and cool and comfortable sleeping weather, and it's absolutely ideal, but it does really starting to feel like fall. Well, if you're going to make a mistake, make a big one, okay? Don't fiddle around with little ones. Might as well make a real big mistake. Well, I did yesterday. I misspoke. I don't know how I got my events all muggled up. But there is no balloon rally in Wellsville this weekend. I don't know what I was thinking. I have no idea. There it was. Of course there's not a balloon rally in Wellsville this weekend. Absolutely not. I don't know what happened. I just don't. Actually, the New York State Festival of Balloons will be in Dansville Labor Day weekend. Okay? So if you were planning on going to a balloon rally in Wellsville this weekend, I think I changed my plans because there isn't going to be any, okay? It's the Festival of Balloons in Dansville, the Labor Day weekend. Right. So I just thought I'd clarify that right smack at the beginning. Well, what is going on? And this, I know I have right. This is also the 200th Steuben County Fair is underway. That I know for a fact. Now I know that's true. And let me see what's going on at a $2 admission day. Let me see. The carnival opens at 1. And the grandstand event this evening, the country group, what's her name? Lone Star? So Lone Star will be the main attraction this evening starting at 7 o'clock. That'll be the grandstand event, and that's going on in Bath. And when I thought, let me see, the Bath Fair, the county fair, started in 1819. And I thought, I wonder what the mood of the country was in 1819. And then I'm thinking, 1819, the War of 1812 ended in 1814, right? So this was 5 years after the end of the War of 1812. And we beat the British in the War of 1812. And prior to that, we beat them in the Revolutionary War. So I'm thinking, we were kind of on a roll at that time. So the mood in the country must have been pretty upbeat. I mean, it must have been pretty upbeat. And here's a county fair. Yeah, people must have been in a pretty good mood in 1819. And somebody told me a long time ago that the first fair, the only event at the first Steuben County Fair was a horse race. Now, this was told me over 30 years ago. But the first fair consisted of a horse race, and that was it. There was 2 horses, and they had a race, and that was it. That was the entire fair. I'm sure there were other little things going on, maybe farmers bringing their stuff in, or something like that. And that was it. But it must have been a pretty upbeat event, I would imagine, back then. Okay, let me see here. You're very well aware, I'm sure, of the brouhaha with Chris Cuomo and somebody calling him Fredo, and the whole thing blew up. This was at a restaurant bar on Shelter Island in the Hamptons, in the Hampton area. This happened, I believe, over the weekend or something like Sunday, I think. So this guy calls Chris Cuomo, the CNN reporter anchor guy there. He refers to him as Fredo. And Chris Cuomo absolutely lost it. I mean, he just lost it. And somebody took out their phone and taped the entire, made a video of the whole thing. And he just went off on this guy, Chris Cuomo. He just went off on this guy and threatened him with all kinds of stuff, to throw him down the stairs and beat him up. and this and that, and he took all kinds of offense to this guy calling him Fredo. And it turns out, where did I find this? I found this on Empire Report, New York, this morning. Now, well, Chris Cuomo said that it's a disparaging term. It's disparaging to Italians, and he didn't like it at all. But it turns out that Chris Cuomo referred to himself as Fredo. He referred to himself as Fredo in 2010 in a radio interview on a show hosted by Curtis Sliwa in New York City. So Chris Cuomo referred to himself as Fredo. And this, by the way, as I said, 2010, that's quite a long time before Rush Limbaugh started to refer to Chris Cuomo as Fredo. That was years before. So maybe old Chris started this Fredo thing himself, and it wasn't Rush. It's kind of interesting. So during this interview in 2010, which was 9 years ago, Curtis Sliwa asked him if his brother Andrew Cuomo, might seek the Democrat nomination for governor. This was in 2010. And Sliwa said he dubbed the Cuomo family La Cuomo Nostra. La Cuomo Nostra, okay. There is a group of people, politicos, who always hint that they might run, said Sliwa, but not necessarily plunge all the way, and they are members of La Cuomo. So Chris Cuomo said in response, who am I then, Fredo? And Sliwa said, yes, exactly. So you better be careful that your brother Andrew doesn't kiss you on both cheeks, and then all of a sudden they take you out in the middle of a lake, and where's Chris? So that's how that interview went. Now, Fredo, of course, is the weak brother in the Godfather trilogy. I think there were 3 films, right? Yeah, there were 3. So he's the weak brother, and he winds up getting shot, I believe, and that's it. So that's who Fredo is. So it was Chris Cuomo who referred to himself as Fredo in the first place, as I said, years before Rush Limbaugh did. So that's the way that's going. And as a matter of fact, you can still see that meltdown in the bar restaurant. It's somewhere. I don't know if it's still on Drudge or Empire Report or something like that, but it's still there. And the thing is that think of Chris Cuomo and CNN. Think what you will. But the guy's in a restaurant with his family, right? His kid's there, his child's there. And so somebody, quite without provocation, calls him Fredo, and he took offense. I think a little too much offense, really, judging by the language he used. And would you talk like that in front of your kids? Really? I don't think so. But he used all kinds of really nasty stuff and threatened to beat the guy up and all that, which was, I think, a little tiny bit overboard, So there's a situation there. Now, in a situation like this, calm heads must prevail. And the Trump campaign, President Trump, the Trump campaign, in an effort to calm things down, is now selling Fredo Unhinged T-shirts. That's right. The Trump campaign sells Fredo Unhinged T-shirts following viral Cuomo video. And this is on Fox News. So I really don't think that this is really going to help things much. But it comes in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 sizes. And it's just a plain white T-shirt, right? But it has 3 photographs in the front. And the heading is Fredo Unhinged. And it has a still from the video of Chris Cuomo losing it. And it's 1, 2, 3 shots of that on the front. And that's what that T-shirt is. So the shirt, which is on sale on Trump's campaign merchandise store for $34, $34 features images of Cuomo's face from the video. And a description of the product reads, "The truth hurts. He totally lost it." And he really did go a little overboard. I thought I'd throw that in. He totally lost it. Help us annoy Chris Cuomo and buy your Fredo Unhinged tea now. Okay, so there we have it. So that's really not going to help things much, I don't think. So President Trump, these are adults. Okay, we're talking about adults here, right? Really? President Trump reacted to the video on Tuesday, tweeting, "I thought Chris was Fredo also. The truth hurts." And this is kind of interesting right here, too. The president here, would Chris Cuomo be given a red flag law? A red flag for his recent rant. Filthy language and a total loss of control. He shouldn't be allowed to have any weapons. He's nuts. That's what he said. That's in quotes. So I don't really think that helps much. Really? Anyway, so there you have it. And I don't know. These are adults. These are the people who I don't know. Okay, let me see here. A number of weeks ago, I had a story about a guy who worked for the MTA, MTA in New York City, and he made $1 gazillion in overtime by falsifying timesheets, allegedly. He made a lot of money overtime. Well, the New York City Housing Authority, in overtime, has hit $95 million. Don't they know how to handle money down there? I don't know. But the New York City Housing Authority has spent $95 million in overtime in the past year. Oh, my Lord. Man, that's a lot of money. There's one guy here. Let me see. Where did I get this from? This was from Empire Report. One guy racked up $181,000 after working 1,668 hours in extra shifts. And that's an average of 32 hours of overtime a week. His total take-home pay was $286,246 for the year, the Empire Center found. It's a think tank. More than half of New York City Housing Authority's 13,000 employees worked extra time between July 2018 and June of 2019, according to an analysis of payroll data by the conservative group. Overall, New York City spent $1.9 billion on overtime. The city of New York spent very close to $2 billion in overtime in its most recent budget. Close to $2 billion just in overtime. Wowee. That's amazing. And it also says here, a New York City Housing Authority spokesman attributed the overtime surge in recent years to growing repair needs and new efforts to combat the agency's chronic heat and water outages, which are often linked to its decrepit pipes and plumbing in its 316 housing tracts. The authority's 19 plumbing supervisors scored the biggest average overtime payments, earning an average of $71,000 in overtime from extra shifts. Wowee. There was one, this guy was a plumber. How much did he make in overtime? $130,000 in overtime. And this other gentleman, another plumber, made $124,000 in overtime. I don't know. They just really can't keep track of their money down there or something. But, we are so lucky to live here in this area. I am so lucky I live here, and I think we should all be very, very lucky that we live here and not down there. Hey, okay, what do we have here? We have insurance. Everybody needs insurance. Everybody needs insurance. You need it. I need it. Everybody needs it. Let me see. Can you do any better than the Ryan agencies? Let me think about that. No thought required. They are the best. The Ryan agencies. They're local. They're independent. You can save smart. That's right. They do the insurance shopping for you. You have your own personal insurance shopper when you go with the Ryan agencies. They have access to many insurance companies to find the best rates for you. They're insurance experts. That's what they do. They offer sound, unbiased advice. They're friendly. They're local. They have a big major interest in local events and local organizations. I mean, they are a local organization. And you can find out more about them at a great website called RyanAgency.com. The Ryan Agencies.
From the Fox Sports Studios in Los Angeles, here's Eddie Garcia.
NFL news, and it appears bad news for the Indianapolis Colts and their starting quarterback, Andrew Luck. His status in doubt for the start of the regular season. Luck, who's only practiced 3 times since April due to a calf injury, is now also suffering from a high ankle issue. The team announced that Luck will not play in any preseason games, but wouldn't say if he'd be ready or not for the season opener September 8th against the Chargers. In baseball games of note, the Red Sox down the Indians 7-6 in 10 innings. Cleveland falls out of first place in the AL Central. They're now a half game back of Minnesota with the Twins beating the Brewers 7-5. It was the Rays over the Padres 7-5. Tampa Bay now has a 3-game lead on Oakland for that last wildcard spot in the American League because the A's lost to the Giants 3-2. Yankees beat the Orioles 8-3. New York's won 15 straight games against Baltimore, and they're also the first team in the American League to reach the 80-win mark. The Dodgers crushed the Marlins 15-1, hitting 6 home runs in that game. LA is the first team in the National League to reach 80 wins in the season.
From the Fox Business Network, Norwegian Air is ending some service between Ireland and the U.S. because of the grounding of the Boeing 737 MAX jets. Flights serving Stewart Airport in New York and Providence, Rhode Island will end on September 14th. It will also end flights from Hamilton, Ontario on September 13th. Norwegian bought the jets to support service between Europe and North America. The remerger of CBS and Viacom could come as soon as September. The New York Post says Chairman Joe Iannello isn't saying whether job cuts will be part of the process, but he did mention cost synergies are expected. Stocks rallied yesterday after the Trump administration delayed some tariffs on imports from China until December 15th. The Dow was up 372, NASDAQ added 152, and the S&P was up 42. With the Fox Business Report, I'm Jenny Cosola.
Mike Capel here, serial entrepreneur with words from another happy payroll customer.
I've used it for a year now, and I've worried 0 time. I just enter in the time, it's calculated, and it's taken out of bank account, and it's just done. I love it.
Visit us at patriotsoftware.com. Use promo code RADIO and get 2 months of payroll free. That's patriotsoftware.com.
Accounting and payroll, keep your time and money.
Today at Simmons Rockwell Ford, drive away in a new Ford F-150 lease for only $339 a month. A new 2019 F-150 STX Crew Cab 4x4 equipped with a 2.7 V6 EcoBoost engine, running boards, 20-inch alloy wheels, lease with no money down and Ford Trade Assist for $339 a month for 36 months. Only tax and DMV fees are due at signing. Shop Simmons-Rockwell.com.
Okay, I found this one on Fox News. This is, there are some pretty strange people out there. I mean, they're really, really strange. This occurred somewhere South Florida, where? In Broward County. But this guy sent a woman 10,000 texts in 12 days. 10,000 texts in 12 days. Some were rather, how should we say, explicit and threatening. I think, by the sample that they have here in the story, I think they're all pretty explicit. They're pretty threatening, too. I mean, the guy was obviously just a little out there. Anyway, how about you and I, we die together? Read just one of the thousands of texts that investigators say Nicholas Nelson sent to a female acquaintance over a 12-day period in April. You and I, we die together. Oh, that sounds good. The woman told the Broward Sheriff's detective that she knows Nelson, 48, of Parkland, through a close friend, but had rarely ever spoken with him and had only seen him in person several times. She really didn't even know the guy. The flood of texts, approximately 10,000, began arriving on April 5th. The woman told investigators, and the volume escalated after she told her friend about the messages, hoping to deter Mr. Nelson. Well, according to the arrest affidavit, which provides no known reason for the messages, I really can't think of any, some of the texts, other text read, "The only man you'll ever be with again is me." That doesn't sound too good. Another one, I'm not suicidal. Not even in the least, but I'd rather die than spend time in jail. Nelson's actions went beyond text messages, according to detectives. On April 13th, the guy sent the woman a threat. Those kind of sounded like threats. I don't know. Anyway, sent the woman a threat and also left clothes in the front yard of the home of her relatives. According to the arrest affidavit on April 17th, the guy sent the woman a picture of what appears to be an airport parking lot ticket from an unknown airport with the caption, I'm going to start blowing up planes to prove my point. Whatever his point was, he was going to blow up planes to prove his point. Nelson is charged with he faces, as we say, a slew of charges. So he's, let me see, he was booked out of the jail on Sunday on preliminary bonds totaling $500,000 for the stalking and threat charges. And he says, I feel my bond is very high. I don't feel it should be that high. Talking about high, there you go. The guy probably was. So anyway, $500,000 bond, 10,000 text messages in 12 days. Wow, there are some strange people out there. And speaking of smoking and kind of weird people, where did I find this? This was on Fox News. Mike Tyson, remember Mike Tyson, crazy Mike Tyson? Well, he says he smokes, he says he smokes $40,000 worth of pot each month. Now, I don't know what the retail price of pot is, but $40,000 of anything every month is a lot of money for a lot of stuff. So he said, what did he say? This week he said he and his podcast co-host smoke about $40,000 worth of pot each month on his California ranch where he grows cannabis. He said, we smoke 10 tons of weed on the ranch every month. Eben Britton, his Hot Boxing with Mike Tyson co-host, added, according to Yahoo Finance. So the former boxer broke ground in California earlier this year on a 40-acre ranch where he grows cannabis. And let me see, he added that his ranch sells about $500,000 in cannabis to dispensaries in California and Nevada each month. So if I guess the both of them, they're smoking $40,000 worth of pot each month. As I said, talk about strange. Okay, well, that's California. That's Mike Tyson. And that's the end of this morning show. I will see you tomorrow morning at 8:05. Bye.